you for warning me, Anthony. So, I guess we can hop on in. I'm allergic to fresh air, so um, go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about you and like what kind of content you produce and
Right. So the kind of oh no wait that's bad. That's bad lighting. Right. So the kind of content that I do, I suppose it's more of the game has always been secondary for me. What I'm playing is just whatever. And my focus has always been on chat and building the community as strong as it can be and making sure that anyone who comes in feels as welcome as possible. Like, one of the things I thought about when I first started this whole thing was like, I want to have a place for those people who feel like they've always been kind of left out and kind of like forgotten by other people. And this could be the place where, you know, the hermits kind of unite as it were. And as far as that, it's like I play a lot of horror games and a bunch of dumb other like single player games primarily. But lately I've been changing things up. I've been playing like more Phasmophobia and DBD and what was it? I've been playing. I just started Dying Light the other day for the first time, so that was really interesting. So it's all been it's been like this sort of, I don't want to say cacophony, but there has been just like a lot of, I've been covering a lot of stuff instead of just doing the same old thing for the longest time. It would have been so easy to just play like single player games forever and ever, because God knows there's a lot of them. And then at some point I was just like, no, I feel like I need to change things up. And then when I got my PC, it was like, okay, the door is open here. I can go play whatever now because I have this opportunity.
yeah, there are certainly a lot of single player games. And I'm finding that out because my list of games I want to play is just ever growing. So I know how that is. So, what would be your favorite game? I feel like I probably already know the answer, but and then of course, is this a game that you have streamed or a game you thought about streaming or
Oh God, favorite game. It's always so hard because everyone has a favorite game. I think as you go through life, you come across those games that are just like your favorite for life at whatever point. Like when it was the PS1, for me it was like the PS1 Spider-Man game. When it was the PS2, it was like the Simpsons Hit and Run. Like the PS3, it became what the hell did I play on the PS3 that I really loved a lot? I don't remember. There's been a lot of games, but if I had to narrow everything down that I've played my whole life, I narrow it down to just one game that I love, probably more above them all. God, could I even think? Could I even pick one? It's so tough to pick. But if I had to choose something, I would probably have to go with. Oh God, probably PS4 Spider-Man. Now I know that's probably a shock because people were probably expecting to hear like Detroit Become Human or Alien Isolation. As much as I love Detroit and Alien, like Spider-Man goes back to my childhood, as I think it does for a lot of us. And that PS4 game just kind of like captured like everything about the character that I loved, so I couldn't not capitalize on that. And when I played it for the first time a couple of years ago, I was like, I would love to share like my love and my joy of for that I have for this game with people. And then once I started streaming and once I started like to really get into things, I was like, hey, I think I have the opportunity to actually play this game. And so I did last summer for the first time. I streamed like a full playthrough of like the main story, and sure enough, like everyone got to like hear my stupid. They were like, we can hear you smiling. I didn't have a camera, but they were like, we can hear you smiling. We can't see it, but we can hear it because you're giggling like an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, that's me when it comes to Spider-Man. I can't help it. So yeah, that's and they just revealed like a bit of a Spider-Man 2 today. So like I'm buzzing about it still.
oh yeah. Well, I'm sure you hurt Harm's feelings because he insisted it was his heart. And Anthony was saying he thinks you're lying because he thinks it's the Avengers, but Spider-Man's a pretty good one.
Double capture the win. Oh my god, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I've never played the Spider-Man game, but I've heard it's really good. So
It is highly recommended if you ever get the time. But I know you're probably playing like 1,000 other things at once right now.
We've got Baldur's Gate 1 through 3, Divinity 2, Witcher 3 again, uh, Wildermyth, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Amnesia Rebirth, the Spyro remake, the Destroy All Humans remake. That's just the ones I can remember. There's definitely more, I just can't remember them. So for their next question is, what would you like to build your community around or be known for? And you kind of already touched on this a bit in your introduction, but go ahead and go into a little more detail about that.
When it comes down to trying to figure out what it is I want to be known for, it was always, when I started the whole thing, I never intended it to go down the road that it did. I never planned to like be so welcomed into like the mission manager community and then in turn like the freaking glitch code community. Like I didn't expect any of that to happen. It was just sort of, I was in the right place at the right time, and I met the right people at the right time. Because when I started, it was just kind of like, hey, I'm doing this for fun. Like there's no other intent other than to just have fun behind it. And if people come to hang out, that's great. If people don't, that's also fine. But it was to give me something to do, because I was in the midst of trying to come out of this really bad episode of depression that I had. And I thought, well, hey, you know, I'm not doing anything during the day. I couldn't find a job to save my fucking life. And I just thought, let me do this because, you know, I can play games pretty well, I think. And I thought, screw it, I'll just do it. And then if people hang out, then they do. And then sure enough, I met other people on Twitch, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start streaming, because why not? What the hell? You know, I had my stepbrother's PS4, and I just hopped on and I did it. And next thing I know, people were coming in left and right. I'm like, what are they doing here? What is going on here? And then this push just started to happen. People just started like, hey, he's streaming. Go check it out. Go. And I was like, uh-oh. So that was pretty cool to have that happen. And then just like, it's just been like a whole bunch of chaotic fun and everything. And at the end of the day, like, I am happy to be known to have that kind of community where it's like, we can have fun, we can be silly, but we can also be very serious when we need to, because I am very open about my mental health. And I talk about these struggles that I have on stream, and I never shy away, I never back away from it, because it's impactful for me. And I know that there's a lot of people in my community that also suffer from a lot of different illnesses and disabilities and whatnot. So I figure I can also be sort of if I could be an escape for a little bit for some people, then, you know, I'll be happy to do that. I'll be happy to be there for them. And if that's something I can continue going forward with, then I'll be happy. And then at the same time too, you know, if I can still be there for the people that feel like, you know, that they're left out and, you know, kind of sort of forgotten, then yeah, I'll be happy about that too.
Yes. Definitely a admirable thing to be known for, and we need more like you. I don't know why I felt like an old-timer voice was appropriate for that phrase, but moving on. So, let's see, next question. What are some goals or ambitions that you have for like streaming and content creation, you'd say?
Well, something I've been doing more recently is I've been collabing with more streamers and having like more co-streams and things like that, or being a guest on other people's streams like right now. And it's something I've really wanted to do for the longest time, but I was never able to do it because my previous living situation wasn't exactly ideal for that kind of thing. And now that I'm away from that, I've moved out, I'm away, like I have all the time in the world to like collab with whomever the hell will have me, and just to do whatever the hell I feel like. And that's something I really want to do more of, because I feel like it's fun. It's I mean, it's a little challenging because you're trying to manage, you know, the attention of people that you have a chat that you're trying to look at the same time, as well as the other people that you're with at the same time. So it's like,
yeah,
and
it's...
if you have like limited attention spans, it can be really kind of frustrating and really taxing and tiring. But that is something I would love to do more of. I think it's fantastic. And maybe I don't even know if it's a possibility. Maybe it will be. I just need to put more work into it. You know, getting that stupid purple check mark, you know, at the end of my name eventually one day, maybe. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably in a couple of years, but, you know, right now I'm just focused on having, you know, like a blast with what I do. And so long as I enjoy what I do, then I think other people will enjoy it too. And I think that's the important thing at the end of the day.
Definitely. So am I hearing hashtag shattered for partner then?
It's a little early for that.
Little early for that? Well, that's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say like it's never gonna happen, but I mean, I just have to put in more work, and that's something I'm looking forward to doing here as time goes on.
And so, speaking of, so your name, do you have an interesting story behind where your name came from by chance?
I do, as a matter of fact, I do indeed. So the name came from, it was, oh my god, I think it was February 2019. I was sort of like in the the dredges of like my mind and my depression, and I was in a really awful living situation at the time. And so I was looking for a name change because I had a previous username that incorporated a part of my real name. And I didn't want to have that anymore. So I thought, okay. And it was nice to shake things up. I was like, it's still the beginning of the year. Let me sort of switch things out and around. So what I did was I happened to be listening to the soundtrack from X-Men Apocalypse, and one of the track titles started with the word shattered. And I was like, that's a great adjective. That's a great word. Let me write that down. So I scribbled it down in like a little notepad that I had. And then I was like, I need something to go along with this. Like, I need like a noun. I need something like of what it is. I need some kind of description or some kind of something. And I was like, I tried a bunch of things. I think I did try to do like dinosaur or something like that, but it just didn't roll off the tongue. And then I couldn't do it. So I just thought, well, X-Men, mutant. So I wrote down mutants. And then I was like, no, get rid of the S, and I just put mutant. And then I wrote down shattered mutant. I was like, I like the sound of that. Let me roll with that. And so then I put it into Twitter and to see if it was a name that was taken. It wasn't, and I was like, that's it. And then I just put it all over all of the rest of my accounts or whatever I had at the time, and I was like, all right, that's it. Shattered Mutant was born as of February 2019. I came back to like Twitter and everything, and my friends were like, hey, that's a pretty neat name. I was like, yeah, thanks. Fun fact, the only username I have ever created in my life that I've actually been proud of.
I mean, hey, as long as you're proud of it, then awesome.
Absolutely.
Off-topic question: your favorite X-Men movie?
Days of Future Past.
Okay, good. I was secretly, I was like, please don't say Last Stand. Please don't say Last Stand.
No. I abhor The Last Stand. Good lord.
I know a couple people who unironically love that movie.
Oh no. No, I still appreciate the first X-Men movie, even though it's cheesy and it's really outdated and it's not all that great. But X2, oh my god, it's so good. And then The Last Stand just completely threw it all away. And then there wasn't anything good until First Class came out. And I was like, this is amazing! And then Days of Future Past came out and completely blew my mind. I was like, this is everything I wanted. I was like, this is just So
I still think it's funny that X-Men Origins came out 10 years after the first X-Men, and yet the claws in the first X-Men on Wolverine look more realistic than they do in X-Men Origins. It's like, really? You've had 10 years and it looks worse?
Maybe they put their C crew for their effects company on the CG. That's why it looks that bad.
They put all their budget into the helicopter explosion.
Oh man.
Getting a little bit more back on topic. Yep. English. Yep. So, what platforms can you be found on, and like what kind of content do you produce on each platform?
Let's see. The only other platforms I think I use are Twitter, Instagram, and I just recently made a fan house. What was it? A couple of weeks ago I had made that. Twitter is basically the place where I just geek out about everything. And it's basically just where I sort of put some thoughts about some things. Like if there's a movie coming out, I'll retweet the trailer and just be like, "Hey, this is really cool." Or if it's a way for me to like share information about, you know, if I'm doing a co-stream with somebody or if I'm doing something with somebody else, and I'm just like, "Hey, you know, this is a thing I'm doing with somebody, so you know, come check this out." Or I'll drop the odd Godzilla gif every now and then, and I'll just be like, "Godzilla." Instagram is basically where I put all like my nerdy stuff. Like I'll take whatever photos I have from my nerd collection and just like post that stuff. Like just the other day, I got like a Mecha Godzilla action figure, and I kind of say I overdid it with like a sort of impromptu photo shoot with this Godzilla and Mecha Godzilla, but I was like I couldn't ignore it, so I was like I may as well just do it. And then my fan house is basically where I just put my unfiltered thoughts, the other thoughts that I have, and where I do where I put photography first. Like I'll take, because I am a bit of a shutterbug, and I do like to take a lot of photos of like, so like my inner Peter Parker does come out every now and again. So if I can ever like find the opportunity for a good photo, I'm gonna take it, and that's where I put it before I post it anywhere else. So I was like, why not?
So, we're talking nerd collections. My newest edition was.
Oh my!
I love it so much.
That's so cool.
We're gonna put it back on the shelf before anything bad happens to it.
Yes. You don't want to destroy that. That'd be bad.
So do you have a schedule for Twitch? And if so, what would it be?
Oh God, I'm like I had a really good schedule before I moved, and then once I moved, that schedule got sort of completely botched. But as of right now, as it stands, it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and the times kind of usually vary, but it's usually in the afternoon. Like I'll start it around it's like either 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then I'll stream for about 3, 4, 5 hours. Tomorrow I'm actually going to return to Dark Souls, and because my stubbornness won't allow me to do anything different. So that's right. And then like I was thinking of like, well, you know, maybe I could have it be like kind of a long stream or something where I just sit here, just play the whole thing all day long until I can't play it anymore, and then it destroys me.
So how far are you in Dark Souls?
Oh God, I just got up to the Bell Gargoyle last night. So maybe not all that impressive, but
I mean, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah. I'm getting there. I'm trying.
I mean, hell, the first, I think, 3 weeks I played it, I was getting lucky to kill one boss a stream. So it's the beginning is definitely a slog. It does get better as you go, because like towards the end I was managing to get through 3 or 4, but like it is a slog starting out. I'm glad I'm done with that game. Like, oh boy. So, but what is something that you wish you knew before you had started streaming that you know now? Like this could be like technical or just mentality or pretty much just anything.
Something that I wish, or that there are probably a couple things that I wish I had known before I had gotten started. One of them, and it's one of the main ones that I always tell other people when they're asking for advice when it comes to like, you know, how do I start streaming? It's like, don't worry about having like a fancy PC setup. Just if you have a console and you can stream from it, just go for it. Just make sure you have a decent sounding microphone. Like, don't let like technical limitations like stop you from doing what you want to do. If you really want to do it, you'll find a way to do it. And that was something that I actually have a funny little anecdote, because I remember right before I was getting ready to start streaming like regularly, I was hanging out with Otter, and she just so happened to be talking about like streaming advice with her community that night when I was there. I think it was the first time I ever hung out with her. And someone had asked her a similar question, you know, like, oh, how do I get started? What do I do this? What do I do with that? And when she had said that, I was like, you know, it was really infectious the way that she said it. She's like, if you really want to do it, just go for it. You know, there's nothing stopping you except you. Just do it, because, you know, you never know what's going to happen. And sure enough, like, I just went for it after that. I was like, I felt inspired in that moment. I was like, I have to do it. I have to do it. And sure enough, I went ahead, and here I am now.
I was gonna say, Otter has that effect on people. Like when she gives advice, she's like, just do it. I can't even count on my hands how many like people that I know who have started streaming because they were like, because Otter told them, just do it, just start. I don't care. I don't want to hear an excuse. Just start. Like,
Right, and that's usually how that goes. And there's so many people that just worry about like. There's so many people that worry about like not having this and not having that before they even get started, and it's just like. It's like, don't worry about that stuff. Just make do with what you've got. You know, you can always upgrade things later. That's the thing that no one ever really tells people is like, you can just upgrade later. No one ever tells people that. And I kind of hate that. Another thing too is like, I had no idea that there were people that kind of looked down on like the console streamers. And I had my fair share of that when I was doing it. People just like, ew, streaming from a console. I'm like, yeah, that's what I got. And what? So like, if you're gonna shame somebody because they're streaming from a console, then you are just a lousy human being. You know, not everyone can afford, you know, the $5,000, $10,000 PC setup that you have, and you're probably not even doing all that well with streaming anyway. So, you know, probably shows what you know. But something else that I think I wish I had known before I got started was like, try to make friends through Twitch and just, you know, see what happens, and then just see where that goes. You know, if they get interested in wanting to hang out with you, you know, in your stream or whatever, you know, then that's great. As I didn't know, because that's what happened to me. Like, I made a bunch of friends before I even started streaming. I started stream, and then they would all come hang out, and I'm like, well, I didn't know that was gonna be a thing. I'm glad it is, but I didn't know. But yeah, that was something that I wish I had known beforehand. It's just like, try and make friends as best you can.
yeah, definitely. Making friends is a big one. And speaking of friends, Lion says that he loves you and hi.
Hi, Lion.
Like, speaking of making friends, but yeah, making friends is like a big one. Like, and like anytime anyone like uses the word networking for it, I'm like,
Ugh.
I shudder inside because like it sounds gross. It sounds, when someone tells me I'm gonna network with me, it's like I am not an inanimate object. You're not gonna do anything with me. It's like it just sounds like dirty, and it almost, the word itself inherently sounds like you're basically telling someone you are gonna use them. But the concept, you make friends naturally. That's
right.
That's why anytime anyone asks, I'm like, make friends, and they're like, so you mean network? I'm like, no, I mean make friends.
Right. It's I hate it too, because I was thinking about it the other day, and I overheard somebody saying like, oh yeah, I'm using this to network, and I'm just like, oh god, it's so corporate, it's disgusting. I just no. And making friends, and it's and if you're like me, if there's anybody who's like me, you know, and you struggle in social situations and everything, making friends is really tough.
Definitely.
In person or over the internet, it's really tough. But you have a sort of advantage over the internet because you can sort of, you know, not be so awkward, I guess. But your awkwardness is kind of, I don't know. It's just easier to do it online because you have a bit of a buffer that you don't really have in person. And the more I think about it, I'm just like, yeah, I can do it over the internet. Like, I think about all the friends that I've made over like the last year and a half since I started this whole thing, and I'm like, well, that was actually easier than I thought it was. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, definitely. But so what are some like struggles with like streaming and creating content that you feel like comfortable sharing about?
Struggles about creating content. God, I think I'm in the midst of that right now. It's kind of it's trying to find that one thing I think that's gonna work the best for me. Like a year ago, I felt like I had something that was, and a year ago I was still streaming from my console, so that was something I was kind of using to my advantage. Where I was like, yeah, you know, I'm on a console. I don't have alerts. I don't have this. I don't have that. So I have to rely on just my voice and sort of like my playing to sort of help get me to where I want to be. And then like once I got the PC, it's like, okay, the doors to the kingdom are open here, but now it's like, what do I do?
It's like
I have all this freedom, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
it's like I've got door A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. I don't know which one I want to go through.
Right, and then you don't even know which one's gonna actually work for you, which is like the even scarier thing. So yeah, like I've been messing about with a whole bunch of different things lately, and I haven't really found that one thing that sort of sticks. The only reason why I'm sticking to Dark Souls as much as I have is because I'm stubborn and I can't just let it go. So my stubbornness is gonna be the thing that kills me when it comes to that game.
Yeah.
But it's really tough when you're making friends with a lot of people and you notice that they're sort of, going off on their own path and they're being really successful, and then you look at yourself and you're just kind of like, what am I doing that's not really right here? Is it the time that I started? No, it can't be that. Is it the thing that I'm playing? No, it can't be that. Is it me, myself? That's not really all that great. So you have all of this self-doubt that kind of just like starts to seep in, and you're just kind of like, what do I do? What's going on? And this has been like the sort of root of my problem over the last couple of weeks or whatever, or maybe in the last month or so, where I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing here. What exactly am I working on? What am I doing that's different from everybody else? And that's something that I think I'm still trying to figure out right now. Like, because there is no clear-cut answer. There is no like end-all be-all with Twitch. Like, it's a constantly evolving thing. This content creation thing is like, there is no set path. There is no A, B, C, D, and it's gonna be the same way like that for everybody. Everybody's path is different.
Yeah.
That's another thing they don't tell you, is that you're not gonna have the same start that everybody else has. Your journey is going to differ greatly from everybody else's, and I know mine is different from yours. Yours is probably different from Otter's. Yours is different from everybody else's, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And no one ever tells you that it's okay. Like, this is fine. And then you have to try to figure out where you want to go, what your identity is going to be, and all this other stuff. And it's like, it's okay, because you're making it up as you go, and that's perfectly fine, but no one ever tells you that stuff. So that's where I am. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I am and what the hell I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, apparently my shtick is being stubborn, so maybe I should just roll with that.
I mean, that was like mine too, playing Dark Souls, because Severe can attest. There'd be times I'd be like, I'm fucking done with this game, and I'd shut the game off and I'd stop stream. And then the next day I'd be like, all right, guys, we're playing Dark Souls. We're gonna get this. Going right back at it. And so just keep throwing my head against the wall. But like, yeah, definitely. Everyone is different. Everyone's expecting when they start streaming that everyone is the NASCAR, the loop. That's it. But they're not realizing it's Rainbow Road, and there's path here, and down here, and path off to the side that goes God knows where, and it's like completely different while I'm easing up with my arms and just throwing them everywhere, because that's what you do. But so our next question is, what do you feel like sets you apart from like every other streamer and content creator on the platform? Is there anything that you do differently or that you think you do better?
I have Godzilla on my mic stand. Tell me another streamer that has Godzilla on their mic stand.
Fair
I don't
point.
think there's anybody else that has Godzilla on their mic stand, or as an emote in the corner of the screen when I'm streaming. I don't think anybody else has that. And if they do, well, they can fight me, because I think I have the best Godzilla emote. So
I mean, hey, that is certainly one way to go about it. Just being aggressive out the gate about Godzilla. I have the best Godzilla. Fight me.
No, I mean, that's kind of my answer. Like, I have a Godzilla. What do they have? But then I see some of the mascots that other people have, and I'm just like, oh, that's cute. I kind of want one of those. But as far as things that sets me apart from other people, I honestly am not sure, because it's like, and I'm speaking now as a creative person, as like an artist kind of a thing. Something I have found out that. Something that I have come to discover over the years as an artist and as someone that really, gets into artwork and everything like that, is that no matter how good you think you are at something, there's always going to be somebody who's better at you at that one specific thing that makes you who you are. And I have realized that, like, okay, sure, I'm a good streamer, sure, I can say that. but there's gonna be other people who are better than me at it, and that's okay. Like I just have to accept it. But those perfectionist tendencies in me are just like, no, we gotta get better. We gotta get better. We gotta do this better. We gotta do this better. And as far as like I don't really know, or I don't know what I could say that sets me apart from everybody else. Maybe it is the Godzilla thing. Maybe it is the Godzilla scare alert set I have. Maybe it is the fact that, you know, I don't know. I don't know. But we always talk about geeky stuff in my channel. It's less, I don't want to say like it's a nerd's paradise kind of a thing, but it's like whenever the nerd talks happen, like they happen and we go very in depth. And that's something that I think that is really appreciated. Because I will go off on tangents, and people know that, and so will everybody else. Like, you know, go off on tangents about everything. Like whenever I play Skyrim, you know, you're in there, you're like, okay, but Oblivion, and then I'm like, I haven't played Oblivion, so I don't really know. I can't really say, but it does make for interesting conversation because, like, I get to hear from another viewpoint that I don't have personally, and I don't know. It's just something that I'm still trying to see what sets me apart from everybody else. I don't know. But like I said, one thing's for sure is that I have Godzilla and they probably don't, so.
Yeah, definitely. So, you already talked about what started you streaming, so I guess we can go ahead and skip that one. So, if you had to pick like 3 role model streamers like that you look up to most and I guess would want to kind of be like or emulate or kind of be a similar like vibe to, which 3 streamers would you probably say and why?
Well, I know 2 off the top of my head. The third one I have to think about as I'm answering this question. So one of them for sure would be Mr. Brian Deckhart, who plays Connor in Detroit Become Human. I love his streams. They are just like they're so chaotic, but they are so chill at the same time. And it's just one of those things that I absolutely adore about the community. It's ridiculously positive. Some might say it's a little too positive at times, but it's just the right sort of balance between chaos and madness that I love, and everyone just gets into everything no matter what it is, and they're able to just like do so many different things and just be totally at peace with it. They want to have a no cam stream, that's great. They want to play Resident Evil, that's also great. You know, they want to play Detroit for 12 hours, that's also great too, you know. They're him and his wife are like, I definitely look up to them because like they were the people that I was watching when I got the idea to stream in the first place. And I was like, hey, I could do that. They're playing whatever game and talking, like I could do something like that. So that was one thing I definitely had thought about. So that's one part. Another streamer who I would say that I do look up to, and I hope he comes back really soon because I miss him. Freaking Lukey Spooky.
Oh yeah,
I miss him. I found him completely by chance last January 2020, and like the amount of time that I have spent there with him has just been like the best, because like he will just rant about whatever and goes off on tangents and does this and does that, but it's all from a very genuine place, and you know he actually knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have always tried to aspire to be like. It's like, okay, you know, I want to go out and talk about this and this and this, but I need to know enough about it to be sure that that I'm not trying to come off as an idiot by talking about these things. So it's very it's one of those things that I have in the back of my head. Like whenever I go on a rant, like I think about him sometimes, and I'm just like, my God. I think even Sammy at one point, a few months ago, I was talking to Sammy, gamer girl Sammy. I was talking to her, and she was just like, you know, there are some times though where when I would hang out with you, and like you did sound you did come off a bit like Lukey sometimes, and I was like, oh God. So it was kind of working, I guess.
And I remember Lukey's actually how we met. I met you through Lukey, yeah.
Yeah. God, that was so long ago. My gosh. Oh.
No, it makes me feel old. And so, and he can go like a while without like stopping to breathe. Sometimes I'm pretty sure, like, dude, please take a breath and don't pass out on us. But yeah, I do miss Lukey.
Yeah, I really miss him, and I really hope he comes back soon because I do miss hanging out with him. he was the first ever channel that I consistently subbed to when that was a thing. So I was really proud of that. As far as the third streamer that I look up to, my gosh, who is it? Who did I look at? Who was I thinking about as far as who it could possibly be? Oh, right. One of my really good friends, Mr. J. I fucking love Jay. He's amazing. He's another guy who I really think of when, because he can go off on tangents as well, but about like games and technology and about a whole bunch of other stuff, and he just like knows his stuff like right down to the meat of everything, and he just gets it completely. Not only that, but he has a great sense of humor and a great sense of timing for everything, and that's something that I try to keep in mind too when I'm trying to do stuff too. So when I'm throwing a bad pun out there, I imagine his reaction and how upset he would be at me with said pun, and that makes me laugh even harder.
Yeah. he's got some great Stream Deck stuff too. So anytime I put something on the Stream Deck, I'm like, it's like the how would Jesus do it, but instead of Jesus, it's like how would Jay do it?
But yeah, he's definitely one of the people that I do keep in mind, and he's been at this game a long time. I think he says he's been doing this since about 2015, 2016, something like that. So he's been at this a long time. So if anyone's gonna know what's up, it's definitely him. And I definitely listen to him when he's got things to say on certain things. And he's the one. A fun fact: he's the one who actually helped me put my PC build list together. And he's the one who helped me like go through the process of ordering everything and building everything. So like I will always be grateful for that.
Yeah. He's been going almost as long as I have. It make me sound old. Although I don't know if that really counts because I took like a year and a half break in between for reasons. But so our next quiz, so let's see. Okay, that's 3. I can count. Okay. So do you have any questions or like observations for me before we open it up and ask chat they want to invade your privacy?
I actually do have a question. Where did you settle on dragons for your stream thing?
Okay, so this is a story that has its roots in about 19 or 20 years ago. So ever since I was a young kid, I have always been obsessed with dragons, and this is partly compounded by getting a book by Cornelia Funk called Dragon Rider, which I have had for a while, and I actually still have on my shelf to this day, the same copy. And I've just always been like, part of it is probably the fixation for having autism, but I've just always been like obsessed with dragons, like just for as long as I could remember, like playing Spyro, reading any dragon books I could find, just watching dragon shows and anything like Dragon Tales was something I grew up with. So just pretty much anything dragon related, I absolutely loved it. And ever since I was about 10 or 12, I would get these like porcelain like gold dragon statues, most of which I still have displayed as well. And that has also just kind of kept it alive. And so when I started streaming, I just just naturally gravitated towards like, well, I like dragons. That's something I could make a consistent theme around, along with, 75% of the rest of Twitch, because dragons and wolves are 2 most common. But I was like, hey, I could, make something around this, and that's kind of where it came from.
Okay, that's really neat. I like that because I remember specifically last year hanging out with Wingles during one particular stream when he was working on I think it was your start screen, or the BRB screen, or what was one of the screens he made
with the waterfall and the dragon in the cave.
Yeah,
I used that as my just chatting screen.
Yeah, that was the one he was working on, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And So I've always remembered that. So you are one of the people I do sort of associate dragons with. So when I do see dragons out, so I'm like, oh hey. So I do have that. I do keep that in mind. Let's see. Do I have another question? Let's see. Uh, let me think. Let me think. Something out of left field. Let me see. Gosh, I actually don't know. I usually try to have good questions in mind before, but this is one of those instances where I'm not sure that I have one.
Stumped the Shattered? I'm honored. I don't think I've ever done that before.
Okay, actually, no, I do have one. Now that I think about it, and it's kind of one you asked me, so I figure, so I kind of think it's only right to sort of throw it right back at you. How did you come up with your Twitch name?
Ooh, this is okay. So this is a story involving a very cringe teenager YouTube channel. So me and one of my friends who I play games with regularly, and he'll sometimes come and chat. We play games together all the time. He has been like my best friend like since high school, and he's one of my closest and longest friends. And we had this YouTube channel together, and of course, being cringy teenagers, we were like, okay, there's two of us. We're both geeks. We're playing games. We're gonna be two geeks gaming. But it's like, how can we make it original? I was like, I got this, and I channeled my inner Leet speak, and I changed the two, and I put for the two, and then the threes. And I was like, two geeks gaming. And then after a while, we were putting YouTube videos, and like I would edit the videos, and we'd both film them together because I like video editing, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, after a while, it got to the point where I could quickly pump out the videos, so I didn't really have much else to do. So I was like, I heard about Twitch, so I was like, this is also coupled with my starting streaming as well. I was like, hey, I'll take a look at it. So I just made an account using our name, and I was like looking at it, and I was watching this one streamer who does not stream anymore. His name is Endless Fragment. He was playing Dark Souls 2, and we were talking, and he was just like, he was actually also one of the very few people I can count on one hand the amount of people who get my name, like complete the full thing right in one try, and he was one of them, and he's the first one. He was like, hey, and I was like, hi, and he's like, and we would start talking about stuff, and so I asked him some questions about streaming and how it worked, and so then it was brought up that I thought about, I told him, I was like, yeah, I kind of think about streaming. And he was like, oh, yeah. I was like, but I don't have a PC or any of that, right? And at the time, I didn't know that you could stream through the Xbox One. And someone in chat was like, hey, I think you can. So I was like, oh, I'll look. And the next day, because of course he streamed at like night, so I was actually watching him late into the night. So the next day after school, because this was junior year of high school, I went down to the Xbox and I turned it on and I checked, and sure enough, you could. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I told him about it, and he's like, yeah, you should definitely start streaming. He was like consistent with it. Like every day he'd be like, hey, have you started streaming yet? And I'd be like, no. And he'd be like, you should do it. And so and eventually I was just like, fuck it. And I started streaming one day, and then I was like, ever since then, that's kind of the two questions in one. That's how I got my Twitch name. And I started streaming.
That's cool.
And
That's awesome. It's always nice to hear like people's like sort of origin stories where people have like started, where they came from, how their names like sort of came about. That's really cool. Oh, okay. I have one more question. I have one last question.
Okay.
How do you feel about the shark mask?
Well, okay, so I don't actually mind it too much. It does get hot and hard to see at times, but it doesn't really bother me. I just think part of it is chat gets a rise from me hamming it up and pretending I hate it. I mean, it's not like pleasant, and I wouldn't wear it nonstop, But at the same time, it's not nearly as terrible as I make it out to be on camera. But I think that's part of the meme at this point.
I actually saw one earlier today when I was out, and I was like, "Hey, if that isn't a sign, then I don't know what is." So it was so awkward because like I was laughing to myself, and people were looking at me. They're like, "Is he okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. It's just an in joke that nobody else would get." Oh, I had to ask because like once Otter showed that clip, I was like,
Oh,
my
of me
God,
sneezing? Yeah.
That
That wasn't so fun. Luckily, I've only done it twice. Luckily, only twice.
That's good. But no, I think those are all the questions that I have.
Okay, so I guess we're ready to open it up and let chat ask some questions and do some invasion of privacy then. So you heard him. Ask away. Okay. So how many sonic screwdrivers does the Shattered have now, and how many does he plan to get?
Okay, that is a good question. Okay, so currently I have two. I have River Song's sonic screwdriver, the one that she has in the library when she meets David Tennant's doctor, and I have the 11th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. As far as how many I plan to get, well, let's see. I still need. Well, I used to have the 10th Doctor screwdriver, but I lent it to a friend, never saw it again. So I have to replace that one. I need to get the 12th Doctor's, the blue one, and I want to get the 13th Doctor's, the yellow one, and I want to get the War Doctor's, so it's like the red one as well. So what is that, like another 4 that I need to get still? So all in due time. I'll get there. All in due time.
10 is David Tennant, and 11 is Matt Smith, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I saw a little bit of Capaldi, but I haven't really like watched past really like Matt Smith. I think my favorite episode is Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Oh my God, I love that episode. I swear to God, his reaction is literally mine at the beginning of the episode. He's like, "Dinosaurs on a spaceship." I'm like, that would be me. That would be me. As soon as I see a dinosaur, I'm like, I don't care. It's dinosaurs.
So your favorite character in the X-Men series?
Oh. Favorite. Oh boy. Oh God. Favorite character. Magneto.
Good choice. Good choice.
I love Magneto. And why Magneto? Okay. I'm glad I looked at that. Okay, why Magneto? I love the progression of his character. I love how he started out as a straight up villain, but over time he has become more of an anti-hero, and even at times become a hero and an ally to Charles and the rest of the X-Men. Even given like his hatred of humanity and his hatred of everything that isn't mutants, like I just love the character because of his, I don't want to say redemption arc, but just this underlying thing with his personality that even though he absolutely hates humans, that he's still going to save them because like his best friend, Charles Xavier, wants to coexist with humans, and even though they fight each other every now and then, it's like a bad relationship between the two of them. It's like, it's no wonder they're not married. So I'm just kind of like, they're always on again, off again, on again, off again, and I'm kind of like, at his core, I know Magneto doesn't like humans, but I also think too, deep down, he doesn't really want to get rid of them. He sees their sort of potential for good as well, and I always like to sort of hold on to that.
So I've got another question. So how do you feel about Connor?
Okay, I was wondering if that was gonna happen. I was wondering if someone was gonna bring that up. Connor is like the best boy, and he's just delightful.
Quite stabbable, I'd imagine, huh?
Oh my God. No comment. That's why the clip exists.
But so if that is all the questions, we can go ahead and let Shattered loose because he probably doesn't want to be here any longer than he has to be.
Are you kidding? This has been a blast. This is great. I've been doing more of these kinds of things lately, and they're really fun. I like sort of what do you call it? pulling back the curtain a little bit and sort of revealing a little bit more about, you know, who I am and about the streams and all that other stuff, because lets people understand me a little bit better than what they just see like when I'm on stream, because, you know, as we all know, the person behind the camera when they're streaming is completely different when they're offline as opposed to when they're streaming, because, you know, it's kind of you're entertaining people. You don't want to be like this really lackadaisical, this kind of like, oh, whatever kind of person on stream. You know, you gotta have that. You gotta have some kind of gusto. You gotta have some kind of energy behind it. And every now and again, it's nice to sort of pull that back and just be like, no, you know, I'm just not really feeling that. So
yeah, you can change when you take the pacifist route. Interesting. But yes, thank you again for agreeing to do this. It was very fun, and I'm very thankful you accepted. I was actually scared you would be like, no, fuck off.
No, never. I don't ever think I can bring myself to tell anybody if they ask me politely. Now, I mean, if it was like someone just doing it like really rudely, I would say, yeah, fuck off. I don't need the time or the attention. I don't need the exposure. I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Anytime. I was happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.